The stadium is roaring with fans, Texas flags waving, and Cowboys jerseys everywhere. But wait, we're not in Texas. Could it be that America's team is here to play? So you see, it doesn't really matter who you are or where you're at. You automatically just gotta love them Dallas Cowboys. Just to give you a little bit of history on the Dallas Cowboys. They played their first ever football game on September 24th, 1960, but would lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. While their first season as a football club didn't pan out so great, they had a losing record of 0-11, but that wouldn't stop the Cowboys. They returned the next season in 1961 and won the first ever football game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. While their first 6 years as a franchise didn't work out so great, but by the time the year 1966, the Dallas Cowboys had won their division for the very first time. This started a tradition of winning. This really was their road to victory. The Cowboys would make it to the 1970 Super Bowl, but would lose to the Baltimore Colts. The very next year, in 1971, they would return to the big stage, but this time they would come away victorious, winning their first ever Super Bowl. With Roger Staubach at quarterback, the Cowboys were for real. They had formed their team. This would be considered the birth of America's team. By the 70s, the Cowboys were given the name of America's team by a film editor by the name of Bob Ryan. It was said that the Cowboys were like movie stars. It didn't matter who you were or where you went, everybody knew the face of a Dallas Cowboy. They would go on to be the most televised NFL team ever. It didn't matter what stadium you were in. You could stop, you could look around, and there was Cowboy fans everywhere. By the 70s, the Cowboys had made an incredible run for the playoffs throughout the decade under head coach Tom Landry. While putting up this tremendous performance throughout the 70s, the Cowboys were rewarded with playing highly publicized football games, like playing on Thanksgiving Day and also making many Monday Night Football appearances. By this time, the Cowboys were still considered a fairly young football team. They had already made it to 4 Super Bowls. This was the beginning of America's team. This was America's team. The winning tradition would carry on. It didn't stop there. By the late 1980s, the Cowboys would form an explosive offense that would be virtually unstoppable. The Cowboys would draft players like Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, and Michael Irvin. While these 3 guys were still playing with the team, they would contribute to 3 Super Bowl victories throughout the 90s. The Cowboys were still America's team, and they were still winners. As America's team still lives on today, the question is, who are you going to be rooting for come Sunday? We all know you got the jersey. So why do you say, let's go get them Redskins?